Welcome back, and we're moving into our final segment for today, and we've been joined by mental health therapist Jenny Lovell. Good morning.
Good morning.
And
good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning, Belize.
So our topic today is looking at the issue of self-esteem. And coupled with that, what has become a bit of a buzzword at this time, narcissism. So that's going to be what we'll be tackling today. The difference between the two, and of course, how we can help to boost self-esteem.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do not want to boost narcissism.
We don't want to boost narcissism. I would definitely vote against that. Yeah.
Actually, narcissism is covered under the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's actually called the narcissistic personality disorder. And so it's not something good to have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, I say it's a mental disorder where a person has an inflated sense of self.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have a really big ego. We know some people like this, right? A deep need for admiration. They need to be loved. They need to be always on a pedestal. Unfortunately, with narcissism, it's they actually don't have any sense of empathy because they're so much in love with themselves, and they see themselves as being so great. They can't feel or walk in your shoes and understand what you're going through. They may mouth it, they may verbalize it, but really and truly they can't relate to you. Some examples. I was going to say, behind all of that though is this really, really fragile self-esteem. They cannot handle criticism. They cannot even begin to think that someone might make a criticism about them. Right.
Now, obviously, because of the interest of time, we're simplifying just the main points of this particular disorder. And as it has been explained, it perhaps doesn't paint the picture as to why this is considered a personality disorder. I mean, it is, as you mentioned, it is a psychological disorder. It has to be diagnosed.
Yes.
There's treatment and therapy that one has to go through as a result.
Well, only talk therapy. There's no medication that a person like that would benefit from.
Why is this considered a personality disorder?
Because these people can really affect our lives because they do not see. I want to give you the definition because I brought the clinical definition of it. The DSM-4, they have an exaggerated sense of self-importance. They expect to be recognized as superior, even if they don't have any achievements to prove it. But they are superior, and they expect you. They see people as inferior to them, and if they see you as inferior to them, then you have no value, right? They exaggerate their achievements and talents. They're preoccupied with fantasies of success, power, brilliance, and having the most beautiful mate.
It's so interesting because the first time I encountered this word, I was watching Law and Order because I'm obsessed with Law and Order SVU. And I was a kid and I saw the psychologist, the doctor, say he's a narcissist. And I thought this is ringing so clear because most narcissists that he described, they're serial killers. They feel they're so superior to other human beings that they're just pawn in their, other people are pawns in their world, and it's really resonating right now.
Exactly. They require constant admiration.
Yes.
Constant. They have a sense of entitlement. And that's the scary one because they believe they're entitled. All right.
And entitlement, of course, means
that I expect it. It's mine. I'm
no boundaries.
Exactly.
No need to request. No. It is simply
I'm entitled to
how I want it, when I want it.
Right. Right. Because I was born.
Because I'm me.
Because I am. I am.
Yeah.
Right. They expect special favors and this is the main one, unquestioning compliance with their expectations. Unquestioning. Okay. Now the scary thing is that we're not allowed as mental health therapists to diagnose people in power, things like that, right?
Yeah.
But really and truly, look at the definition and consider the definition, right? These people, you know them, and you will recognize them maybe among your friends. They're boastful. They're highly boastful, conceited, pretentious, and they will monopolize conversations. Right. They have. They expect to receive special treatment, and if they're not getting it, like if they come into a restaurant or a store or the bank, they expect to get special treatment, and they expect to be taken right to the front. Otherwise, they get angry, and I mean, they will act out.
You know, it's interesting because you mentioned earlier that this is something that you can't, like, clinically diagnose in terms of, you know, autism or something else that's on the spectrum of, you know, biological disorders. It's something that you probably innately learn and you pick up. How do you detect that in children in order to stop it, or is that something that you can even do?
But that's the problem. You see, there are parents who will, especially parents who have money or power, right? Their children may not be able to demonstrate that they have learned different things, but because they are their children, they will congratulate them on having accomplished things that they haven't accomplished. And so they grow up from very young with that sense of entitlement. So narcissists are created.
And the entitled behavior is something that you seem to be pointing out very often, which is in all consideration as to what parents go through. Parents want to make their children happy, you know, at all costs. They want their child is special to them, and they want their child to feel special, and they don't want their child to feel hurt or pain or consequences. And many of these things are usually said to lead to entitled behavior. Now, I keep on pressuring on it because we say it because I think we have an understanding of it, but it is very dangerous.
Extremely dangerous. And particularly.
So how do you see that in a child? How do you know that perhaps you're raising your child to be entitled?
A little narcissist.
Well, if your child demands and you immediately provide, right? The child goes to school and they expect teacher and they expect other children to meet those demands also, right? Child comes home and says, oh, teacher didn't do this or teacher didn't do that, and they go to school. The parent goes to school and scolds teacher in front of all the other children. What have you just taught that child? Right?
That they're the power person, they're in control,
Right. And we have a lot of those little kids running around in some of the schools, right? Parents have to be very alert to that sense of entitlement. But if the parent themselves feel that they're entitled, how will they recognize it in their children?
Very true.
Right? It's very difficult for someone who has that sense of entitlement to recognize it in their children. They may see it in other children, the other, you know, someone, their friends' children, but not recognize it in their own.
And that balance is very delicate. I was watching this video on YouTube the other day, and it was a father talking to his daughter, getting her ready for school, and he said to her, say, I am beautiful, and she said, I am beautiful. Say, I am not better than anybody else, and she said it, and she said, and he also told her to say, and nobody is better than me. And I think that's the balance between helping children to understand that you are a part of the society, you fit in, that you aren't better than anybody, and nobody's better than you because we are equal.
You just finished off my whole... Because what you just spoke about is what we call healthy self-esteem. And healthy self-esteem recognizes values, right? It recognizes that I am part of a society, that I am supposed to feel good about myself, but I also do that in the context of other people, right? While a narcissist, no, that doesn't happen.
And obviously, in our society, narcissism by many can be seen as high self-esteem, a confident person from the outside, you know. And I think we have put a lot of value on ensuring that people are confident, and it is important that we build confidence and self-esteem. But we have to be careful that we're not stepping into the realm of narcissism. So if you could say there's a distinguishing factor between having a healthy sense of self-esteem, I know myself, I love myself, I appreciate who I am and where I am, versus narcissism, what would it be?
I would have to say that the person with high self-esteem values themselves, their self-love, but in the context of other people.
Yes.
The narcissist basically will trample on your needs, on your whatever you have.
Yeah.
The difference there is that that person has no concept of empathy. Empathy means I really want to understand where you're coming from. They don't care. It's not a factor
It's
for them.
only and always about them.
Self, yes. Now, healthy self-confidence is confidence in my ability, right? How I learn things. And I understand I'm realistic. If I have good self-esteem, I'm realistic. I'm really horrible at math, but I'm really good at grammar and English and these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
So I understand that I have things that I'm not
Flaws.
good at. Right. And I recognize it. The narcissist can't see that.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they do not allow themselves to accept failure or anybody to tell them that. And so they will become very spiteful. If you point things out, you cannot criticize them. If you have a friend who's narcissistic, they are not going to be your friend anymore if you have any kind of criticism.
Yeah.
Okay?
Would that be considered like a warning sign, perhaps? Somebody who
Ding, ding, ding,
simply
ding, ding.
cannot accept responsibility and worst, any form of even constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That would be a clear warning sign.
Or always placing blame on others.
They take no responsibility for anything, for nothing. I mean, ding, ding, ding. Red flags should be flying all over the place, right? Now, let's look at healthy self-esteem. And they're not putting it up there for me. I did all this work.
Yeah, they're putting it up.
Oh, it's up? Okay. Healthy self-esteem. And I show the kitty cat looking into the mirror and she sees a lion, right?
Yeah.
Because the kitty cat is really thinking about,
I'm fierce.
I'm powerful, and you're saying the proper things to herself. Healthy self-esteem is an overall opinion of self.
Yeah.
Right. It encompasses self-love. What do I do to take care of myself? I have a sense of values, and I respect the values of the other person. When you have healthy self-esteem, you feel good about yourself, and you know that you deserve the respect of others because of the work you've put in to get where you are. Along with that comes a self-confidence. Right? Because I put the work in. I go to school, I do all the things that I need to do. So I have healthy self-confidence. Okay? It's self-esteem represents an attitude built on accomplishments that I've mastered. Narcissism, though, is often based on a fear of failure or showing weakness. Is this ringing any bells for you?
It's ringing a lot of bells. It's and what I'm thinking the most about the self-esteem part is that it's not something that you're given. Like for instance, when you go through high school, you have a healthy amount of self-esteem, maybe. And then when you reach university or you're in a job setting and you're not good at certain things, you're like, well, what about my self-esteem? Where does my self-confidence go? Because it's not about that you get it and it stays with you forever. It's something that you work on.
Right.
Because you're mastering things as you progress through life.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of self-esteem.
Yeah.
Is that as you go through, you learn new things.
Yeah.
And it fluctuates. But the point is that resilience. You pick yourself up. You go and you learn what you need to learn, and your self-esteem grows again.
Yeah.
This is why it's considered. In Maslow has self-esteem as a part of his hierarchy of needs because it is such an important aspect of the human personality.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that stands out from me in terms of definition of self-esteem is a very honest look at yourself. So I am not the best at this, but I know I have a very good handle on and accept, because the harder part sometimes for people is being able to accept what you are good at, because it's so easy to say, okay, I'm not good at anything. Those are people with low self-esteem. But I appreciate that you speak about just having a healthy acknowledgement of what you are and what you are not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the word, healthy.
Yeah.
Because you're able to assess yourself and look and see what the things are that you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Right? And what I need to work on. Okay. The narcissist has this unhealthy drive to be the best.
Yeah.
They need to be the best. And but unfortunately they have this deep-seated inadequacy that they don't show. They hide it behind all of that.
Or they think they're not showing, but it's you.
Yeah. So I put some things here because I wasn't
Yeah.
sure how much time I had, but I put
Yeah.
5 things that we can do.
Build
to
healthy self-esteem.
Esteem.
Now, Jen, just quickly before we get into that, what is the danger of not building a healthy self-esteem? Not the narcissistic end. We obviously point out why that's not the route that you want to go or raise your children. But then we have the other end of the spectrum. Children and adults who have no confidence, who do not see any good in their life or what they do, or perhaps not as bad as no good, but are constantly questioning and second guessing and perhaps need outside affirmation.
Each person is responsible for his own happiness.
Yes.
I do not need to look outside myself for affirmation from others. And this is a thing that people that I meet who have, right away you can tell there's low self-esteem, is to really say to them, okay, you start working on self. You've got to work on the inside because all of this comes from you. You have to take responsibility and do these things for yourself. I have what I have here is really critical. I picked up 5 things. And the first one being to be appreciative. And it's that attitude of gratitude, giving thanks. First thing in the morning, getting up and giving thanks for what you have.
How does this help to build self-esteem? We see so many gratitude challenges and, a lot of times, a lot of self-help people are talking and motivational speakers are talking about give thanks for the things you do have or embrace the gratitude. Why does this help to build oneself?
Because as you are able to give thanks for what you have, give thanks for where I've been, where I'm going to go. Give thanks for what I have and what is coming to me. If we do not learn how to be grateful, and I mean this is biblical, God can reward you with more. And so when I hear people say, well, I don't have anything to be grateful for, oh my gosh, that's a scary thing to hear.
Because they're focusing on the material. I don't have a car, I don't have a house. The gratitude it's materialistic.
Yeah.
And so that's where I start is, so be grateful that you have eyes. You got up this morning, you could see. You got up this morning, you could get out of your bed. You have 2 feet that work. What about the person that
you can go to the job that you hate and pay your bills?
Right. And so you start off with those little things, being grateful for what I have right now. Right? And being grateful for what I had. But not only that, looking at how the people in your lives, how they enrich your lives and how the things that they do. People teach you every day. You learn something from the people at your job. Give thanks for how they help you. Little tiny things.
Yeah.
Right? Being appreciative.
Of even the bad experiences.
Especially the bad experiences,
I
because
know
you know
what
what?
not to do.
You grow. You grow from those. You grow from those. Know who you are and what you want. Okay. Avoid competing. Where is it?
Number 2.
Number 2.
Challenge your inner
critic. Oh man, turn off that negative voice.
Teach us how.
That chatter. That chatter. It keeps on going constantly.
I always say this. Most people I know, maybe not narcissists in this world, but their worst critic are themselves.
They're worst.
Absolute worst. You can have all the accolades. You can be literally put on the pedestal and still internally be saying,
And we see this in everyday society. You look at celebrities who
Yeah.
have sometimes the worst self-esteem, who kill themselves. Marilyn Monroe, Jimi Hendrix, all these people who are everybody idolizes, and within themselves they don't see that idol.
They don't see it.
Or even great leaders, people who've contributed so much to this world. If you read their biographies, they struggle with that inner critic.
it's because that negative voice is always there. But you have to shut it up.
Yeah.
You have to learn to
That's
shut
another
it. No, you have to learn to shut it up. You just literally say, okay, and start listing. I always tell people, make a list of what your strengths are. What are your strengths? What are the things that you have done? And think about the last time that you did something that you were a survivor, or that you did something where you came out on top. You were depressed and you were able to do. What did you do? What kinds of things did you do? Make a list of these things so that and keep a little card. I really believe you keep a little card for those times when you're really down. You can look at it and go, oh yeah, I remember.
You know, sometimes I feel like it's society's fault, because society loves people who self-deprecate, because it's a sign that
it means you're humble.
Right, you're humble and this and that. And I'm like, no, sometimes I'm awesome at things and I want to tell myself that, but I feel bad for doing that.
Well, see, we are taught this in church. Don't you think?
I think was taught that in school.
I would say we're socialized that way. If I can.
We are, though.
It is.
And the thing is that we are taught that you think you're better than other people if you try to say
Be
it above.
confident, but be modest.
Yes.
Right.
Celebrate the good in you, but don't be boastful.
Don't have a party about it.
Yeah. So it is that fine balance in life, which we're all seeking. I'm a firm believer, I think you get there for a second, then you move off on one end of the spectrum and keep on trying to come back. But countering it, I guess, are the skills that we're focusing on, whether it was socialization, parents, school, even society that we're in now.
Yeah.
Challenge it. You hear that negative chatter going on, challenge it.
Okay.
In psychology, we say reframe it. Change how you hear it. Turn it around. Oh man, you're stupid. No, I'm not. Look at all the things that I've accomplished. I'm not. So you hear it, refute it, change it, turn it around. Take those same words and turn it into a positive. So take all your the negative things you're hearing, and turn it into a positive. You do it enough, you'll start believing it. In AA, we say fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it.
Okay. So that's one way to challenge the inner critic.
Challenge it.
Alright.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
But you have to catch yourself doing it, and each time you start doing it, catch yourself. Oh, I can't go to college because I'm too old to go back to school. Hey, I know 95-year-olds who went back to college and got their bachelor's degree and went on and got their master's degrees. Old, elderly people. So stop it. Tell your brain, stop it.
Okay.
Number 3. Where are we? Number 3.
Do the best.
Yeah.
No.
Know who you
Know
are
who-
and what you want. Avoid competing or comparing yourself with others.
Ugh.
That's the worst thing we can do.
I think this is the one thing in my life that I've mastered, because I am so ridiculously awkward and weird that I don't try anymore to be like anybody else, because there's no getting past it.
What concerns me is that this has become almost a priority for many people. Because, and I hate playing this blame game on technology, because we are the users of technology. So fundamentally, the issues come from us. It's just a different platform. But because I can open up a web page and see a curated version of a person's life, in other words, handpicked to look the absolute best that it can, or to paint the picture that I want you to see.
Yeah.
And I use that to compare to my life. And a lot of young people do it. And no, let's not be mistaken, even people who are new to technology do it. So this is, I think, one of the challenges we face in our society today, especially.
Well, you just need to go on Facebook at any given time and you see people comparing and competing.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you remember the Desiderata, where it says don't spend time comparing or competing with others, because what it does, it eats at your soul.
It's a thief of joy.
Yeah, it
Comparison.
robs you of joy.
Yeah.
The thing is you work on setting your goals. What are your priorities?
That's right.
And if you're going to compete with anybody, compete with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Compete with yourself. You set your goals. You start working towards that. Have a vision of who you want to be and where you want to be, and work towards that. And forget about putting stuff on Facebook that
Yeah.
makes you look
Yeah.
like there's stuff going on,
Yeah.
but actually do stuff.
You know, I think, and I've always used this as an imagery for myself, and I can thank people like Kaina Martinez. I think a track athlete has the mentality that we need. We want to cross a finish line in our goals, and we want to do it. And we can't waste time looking back
Right.
because it cuts from more time.
Right.
And ultimately, if I'm able to pass that finish line, and I set another finish line, I'm working against my personal record.
Right.
I want to better my personal
Right.
record. And I think for me, that imagery has always worked. And that's why I guess I'm a big fan of Kaina when I see her racing. And it is you against yourself.
Exactly. That's a beautiful imagery. I love
Yeah.
it. Exactly.
So-
And that's exactly what we're talking about here. Instead of competing with others, compete against yourself. Set your goals. Okay? Number 4, do the best you can in this moment in time. You know, a lot of people strive for perfection. And that's one of the things, I know so many people who want to be perfect. And so they procrastinate because they're looking for just the right time to get it done at the absolute best. We in the Marines call it excellence.
Yeah.
Strive for excellence. Strive to be the best that you can be. And when you're going to evaluate, did I do my best? Not was it perfect? Because you can't make perfection. Only Jesus was able to be the perfect human being. We're not going to do it. And so instead of making ourselves feel badly about ourselves because we couldn't reach perfection, evaluate. Did I do my best? And please do this with the children.
Yeah.
When kids bring home a report card, if it's a C, did you do your best, baby? Right? And if that's the best that child did for that semester, that's the best they did.
I think it's important to understand that you define what the best is, because
Right.
society tends to tell us the best is 120 pounds, the best is
All A's.
all A's,
Yeah.
the best is getting so and so and so by a certain age.
Right.
And if that's not what you define as your best, then how do you know that you're achieving
Right.
what really makes you happy?
Right.
Unless you set it.
You have to set your own. You set your own. Be the best that you can be. I love that motto. Be the best that you can be. And then finally,
My primary school principal used to say, once you've done your best, not even the angels can do better.
Amen.
And I think, you know, that's a hard one, I think, for some people, I guess for me, because when you aim to do something and you fall short of it, you can be very hard on yourself. That's where the inner critic kicks in. But it is ultimately understanding that, you know, like our Special Olympics saying, let me win, and if I cannot win, let me be brave in my attempt. Maybe that's perhaps the approach that we're taking with it. But yeah, that's a hard one for people.
it's a hard one, but the thing is, be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
I remember when I joined the military, and that was the Marines motto, and I love that motto, because if I strive to be the best that I can be, then that's it. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be better than you have to be better than anybody else. I need to be the best that I can be. Okay.
And the last one.
Enjoy positive relationships and eliminate the negative ones. And I put this little statement here, love it. Don't let negative people rent space in your head. Don't.
Yeah.
Raise the rent and get them
Kick
to
them
move out.
out.
Okay. You need to surround yourself with people who are going to validate you.
Yeah.
People who you learn from.
Yeah.
People who benefit from your company. The negative people who are always there trying to haul you back down, the crabs in the barrel, you don't need them in your life. They're toxic.
Yep.
I think that also applies to negative behavior, because sometimes the people in your life can be negative as well, in terms of how they criticize what you do, what you wear, what you say, things like that. Remind them that you are a part of my life because I love you, but your negativity
Yeah.
can't stay. I think that's important,
Yeah.
because it's hard to tell people we love sometimes. You're being negative right now.
Yeah, or you're being toxic.
Yes. Toxic indeed.
These are such fantastic tips, and we really hope that people can be able to put them into practice.
I hope so, because I think that one of the things, I don't know if there just seems to be a sense of depression in the country right now. And I'm hoping that people would hear and just sort of take stock of themselves. because only we can do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
My happiness will only come from me. You can't make me happy. Nobody outside of me can make me happy. It's the spirit, my spiritual edification, and everything that my happiness has to come from here. It has to start here.
Okay.
And so hopefully, people have learned something.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
appreciate it. Most importantly, being able to differentiate between narcissism and having a high self-esteem, a healthy self-esteem.
Healthy.
And for the many people who struggle, maybe not all the time, but sometimes with building up their self-esteem, I think these are excellent tips we can all put into practice. Thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome.
All right. We're going to go ahead now and take that final break. And when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.